The cadets mocked his primitive uniform, the instructor. "You don't understand. That's a ninja." The Orion Combat Academy floated above a blue gas giant, held in place by engines older than most civilizations. It was known across the galaxy as a place where only the best survived. Cadets trained there did not learn theory alone. They learned how to fight, how to lead, and how to stay alive when everything went wrong. Hundreds of cadets stood in long lines inside the intake hall. The room was wide and tall, built to fit many shapes and sizes. Some cadets had scales. Some had 4 arms. Some had glowing eyes or metal skin. Their uniforms were advanced. Adaptive fabric shifted with movement. Light armor rested under smooth plates. Small lights showed rank and status. Among them stood one human. He was easy to miss at first. He was not tall. He did not glow. His uniform was plain black cloth. No armor plates. No lights. No symbols. Just fabric tight at the arms and legs, loose enough to move. His boots were soft, not reinforced. His belt held no visible tools. A few cadets noticed him and frowned. A tall cadet named Ryan leaned closer to a friend. "Is he lost?" Ryan whispered. "That uniform looks like museum clothing." Another cadet, Laura, tilted her head. "Maybe it is a joke. Humans like jokes." Soft laughter spread down the line. Eyes turned toward the human. Some pointed. Some shook their heads. One cadet openly laughed. The human did not react. He stood straight, hands relaxed at his sides, eyes forward. His face was calm, almost bored. Instructor Hale entered the hall. The room fell silent. Hale was old by human standards, but dangerous by any measure. The body carried scars that were not hidden. His eyes missed nothing. He walked slowly to the front, boots echoing on the metal floor. He looked at the lines. He looked at the cadets. Then his eyes stopped on the human in black. For a moment, he said nothing. Ryan noticed the pause and smiled. He thought the instructor would call the human out, maybe remove him from the line. Instead, Hale turned to the group. "Before we begin," Hale said, his voice steady, "some of you are amused." No one spoke. "You see something you do not understand," Hale continued, "and you laugh." His eyes returned to the human. "That uniform," Hale said, "is not primitive." Murmurs moved through the hall. Hale raised his voice slightly. "You do not understand. That is a ninja." The word meant nothing to most of them. Ryan frowned. Laura looked confused. Someone whispered, "What is that?" Hale did not explain. He turned away and began the intake briefing. "You are here because your people believe you are strong," he said. "Fast, smart, brave. Most of you will fail. Some of you will quit. A few will survive." His words were cold and clear. "The Academy does not care about pride," Hale said. "It does not care about history. It cares only about results." The human in black did not move. Hale finished the briefing and dismissed them to their quarters. As the cadets broke formation, the noise returned. Conversation sparked up immediately. Ryan walked past the human and stopped. "Nice costume," Ryan said. "Is there a festival today?" A few nearby cadets laughed. The human looked at Ryan for half a second. His eyes were dark and calm. "It is not a costume," he said. His voice was quiet, flat, almost gentle. Ryan snorted. "Sure it is." The human did not reply. He stepped past and continued walking. Laura watched him go. Something about the way he moved felt strange, too smooth, too quiet. Later that day, the cadets gathered for their first basic evaluation. Strength tests, speed tests, reaction scans. The human performed poorly. His strength was average. His sprint time was unimpressive. His reaction score barely met the minimum. Ryan smiled when he saw the results. "Told you," he said to Laura. The human said nothing. He accepted the scores and stepped aside. That night, the academy lights dimmed for rest cycle. Most cadets slept. The human did not. He sat on the edge of his bed, eyes closed, breathing slow. His room was dark. No screens, no noise. A soft vibration passed through the station, barely noticeable. In the control sector, a low-level alert blinked on and off. The security systems adjusted, then reset. No alarm sounded. In a service corridor, a camera feed stuttered for less than a second. Nothing was recorded. He stared at a frozen frame on the screen. The frame showed an empty corridor, but Hale knew better. He leaned back and exhaled slowly. "They never listen," he muttered. Down in the training halls, cadets prepared for the next test, unaware that something had already moved through the academy, unseen, unheard, and completely human. The next morning, the Orion Combat Academy was alive with movement. Cadets hurried through the wide hallways, carrying their equipment and preparing for the day's tests. Instructor Hale stood at the observation deck, watching every move with eyes that seemed to see more than any camera. The human cadet in black, Eli, walked quietly among the others, unnoticed, as if he were part of the walls themselves. Today was a zero-visibility navigation test. Each cadet had to traverse a darkened course filled with obstacles, traps, and simulated threats. Sensors and AI scanners would measure their speed, precision, and awareness. Many cadets were confident. Someone was comparing who would finish first. Ryan, Laura, and a group of strong aliens joked openly about Eli. "This will be easy," Ryan said, flexing his arms. "No way he beats us in the dark." Laura smirked. "You'll see. Maybe he trips on his own boots." Others laughed. Eli said nothing. He adjusted his cloth uniform, checking its folds and movement. To anyone watching, it seemed he was unprepared. His uniform had no sensors, no tech, only the smooth black fabric that caught no light. The test began. One by one, cadets entered the course. Lights flashed red and then turned off completely. Darkness fell like a heavy curtain. The sounds of footsteps, shouts, and occasional collisions echoed through the hall. Ryan ran first. His boots clicked loudly. He moved quickly, relying on sensors in his uniform that projected a soft map of the room. He reached one obstacle, a low barrier, and misjudged the height. He stumbled, catching himself just in time. Behind him, sensors recorded the exact moment, his reaction time slightly off. Laura followed, moving more cautiously. She used her energy shield to scan the path ahead, adjusting her steps carefully. She was fast, but hesitated at each corner. Her mind tried to anticipate every trap. Eli entered last. The door closed behind him, cutting off any light. The darkness was complete. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a faint shift in the air, a soft whisper of movement. The sensors recorded nothing unusual. No digital map, no glowing indicators. Cadets watching from the observation deck frowned. "Where is he?" one whispered. "He should be struggling." In the darkness, Eli moved like water. His steps made almost no sound. His hands brushed surfaces lightly, feeling their shape, adjusting instantly. Obstacles that tripped others were barely noticed. When he climbed over a barrier, it was almost invisible, a blur. Ryan reached the halfway mark and stopped. He thought he heard something behind him. A shadow? A sound? He shook his head. Nothing. Then he noticed a faint movement at the corner of his eye. He turned, but the hallway was empty. Meanwhile, Eli reached the same point, but the sensors on the observation deck did not record him there. The cameras showed only empty space. One frame showed a blur, a dark smear crossing the corridor, then gone. Laura paused at a trap, a swinging pendulum of metal. She stepped carefully. A faint metallic clang echoed, and she realized she misjudged. Her shield activated automatically, but it slowed her momentum. Eli approached the same pendulum. He stepped softly, timing each movement by intuition. The pendulum never touched him. Sensors still recorded no data. It was as if he had passed through solid air. At the final stretch, cadets scrambled toward the finish, and many stumbled. Some hit walls. Some collided with each other. Their tech gave them confidence, but it also made them predictable. Every step, every choice was logged. The AI recorded each error. Eli reached the end first. He waited quietly. The sensors recorded nothing, but a faint trace showed a disturbance in the air. The instructor's eyes narrowed. He knew exactly what had happened. Ryan arrived, red-faced and panting. "Impossible," he muttered. "I left 10 minutes ahead." He looked around. "Where is he?" The cameras replayed their recordings. The frame showed gaps. At no point did Eli appear clearly in the footage. He was present and gone at the same time. The cadets whispered nervously. Instructor Hale addressed the class. "You have been trained to rely on technology, speed, and strength," he said. "What you just witnessed is something else, something older." The cadets did not understand. Their eyes darted to Eli, who still stood quietly, expression calm. No one dared approach. Laura, curious, finally asked, "How did he do that? Why didn't the sensors work?" Hale shook his head. "Because he is human, and some humans are trained in ways you do not understand." Ryan, frustrated, stepped forward. "Trained? He barely passed the strength test yesterday." Hale's gaze sharpened. "Strength is only one measure. Speed, reflexes, technology, they are only tools. Some weapons are not built. They are trained over generations." Eli said nothing. He adjusted his uniform, folded the sleeves slightly, and walked away from the course. His movements were quiet, precise. It was almost hypnotic. During the day, cadets attempted to follow him, but he was always a step ahead. In the crowded hallways, he would vanish for minutes at a time, then reappear without anyone noticing. Laura tried to track him. Every corner she checked, he was gone. By mid-afternoon, Instructor Hale called a debriefing. Cadets gathered again in the hall. Some whispered excitedly. Others were visibly nervous. The reports from the observation deck showed anomalies in every recording. Cameras missed frames. Sensors did not detect movement. Hale turned to the cadets. Ellie is not just surviving. He is teaching you something you refuse to learn. Technology can fail. Strength can be countered. Awareness is not measured by devices alone. Rin crossed his arms. So he cheated? Hale's eyes darkened. Cheating requires rules. Eli knows the rules you have forgotten. After the debriefing, cadets returned to their quarters. Most tried to sleep. Some whispered, sharing theories about the human in black. A few tried to laugh, but the sound was weak, uncertain. Eli sat in his corner again. He did not rest. He trained with invisible motions, practicing footwork, hand placement, and breathing. He moved silently, observing the station. His eyes flicked to every shadow, every corridor, every vent. Outside, the station engines hummed, keeping them in orbit. In the dark halls, cameras still occasionally flickered. No one noticed the faint ripple in the air, almost like a shadow moving against the walls. That night, a security officer reported a strange reading. A sensor detected motion in a sealed corridor. The log said the door was closed. When the officer checked, no one was there. Only a slight disturbance in the air like someone had brushed past. Hale reviewed the report. He did not comment. He only watched the monitors where cadets slept. He already knew what had happened. The next morning, a group of cadets gathered around the course again. They whispered about Eli. Some wanted to challenge him. Some wanted to understand. A few wanted to avoid him entirely. Hale entered and stopped the conversation. Do not follow him, he said. Not yet. You do not know what you would see, and you may not survive what comes next. The cadets froze. The human stood quietly nearby. He seemed unaffected by the warning. Calm, patient, in control. A faint alarm buzzed across the station. Sensors showed an irregularity in a distant sector. Something moved where no life form should be. The cadets looked at each other. Some were nervous. Rin scowled. Laura frowned. Hale raised his hand. This will be a test for all of you. But remember, the first step is awareness. Some lessons are not taught. They are observed. The cadets prepared to move. The tension in the air was thick. No one noticed the quiet human in black, already moving ahead silently. The shadows seemed to bend around him. The lights flickered slightly. For a moment, he was gone, and then he was at the front of the corridor waiting. No one could explain how he arrived there. Hale watched from the observation deck and whispered, almost to himself, "They still do not understand, and soon they will learn." The night was quiet across the Orion Combat Academy. The stars outside the station shone pale and distant, cold against the metal walls. Most cadets slept, their minds heavy with exhaustion from the day's tests. The human in black, Eli, did not sleep. He moved silently through the corridors, his eyes scanning every corner, every shadow. He felt the hum of the station beneath his feet and the vibration of engines through the walls. Everything was alive if one paid attention. At the observation deck, Instructor Hale watched. His hands rested on the railing as he observed cadets in their quarters. "They are too confident," he muttered. "They do not see what is coming." The first warning came as a faint vibration in the outer hall. Sensors recorded a minor disturbance, almost imperceptible. The alarm did not trigger. Security systems registered no breaches. But Hale noticed it. A flicker of movement ran across the outer perimeter readings, faster than anything normal cadets or maintenance bots could produce. Eli moved toward the affected sector. He knew the humans in the perimeter could not respond yet. He passed through hallways, stairwells, and empty training rooms. Every step was silent, deliberate. No doors squeaked, no lights reflected movement. To anyone monitoring, the corridor appeared empty. Meanwhile, cadets gathered at the edge of the training hall for routine night drills. Ryan, Laura, and others discussed the earlier test. Some were angry that Eli had outperformed them without detectable sensors or technology. Others were curious. Some were afraid. "I don't understand how he does it," Laura said. "The cameras, the sensors, he shouldn't exist there." "Maybe he cheated," Ryan said, his voice loud, trying to sound confident. Maybe he has hidden devices, or maybe he is something more, another cadet whispered, eyes wide. Hale entered silently, his presence immediately demanding attention. The cadets fell silent. Do not assume what you cannot see, he said. He is not cheating. He is human. And humans have ways you cannot imagine. That is the lesson tonight. Pay attention. Before anyone could ask questions, the station trembled slightly. The lights flickered. A low hum rose through the walls, growing louder in a strange pulsing rhythm. The alarm system remained quiet. Cadets exchanged nervous glances. Some rushed to check their equipment. Others froze. Eli was already moving. He reached the outer perimeter doors just as the first signs of intruders appeared. The sensors had barely registered a reading, a faint energy ripple passing through the reinforced shield. Nothing more. Security bots moved toward the sector, but their scanners could not lock onto the intruders. Then, the attack began. Figures appeared suddenly, moving faster than any recorded species. Their armor was dark, angular, and seemed to absorb light. They moved silently, striking with precision. One of the station's external drones tried to intercept, but it fell before it even completed its attack sequence. Power surged across the corridor and lights went out in the affected sector. Ryan and Laura, along with several cadets, raced toward the sector. They expected to see chaos. What they found was impossible. Eli stood in the dark, alone, facing multiple attackers without weapons visible. He did not move quickly or strike wildly. He flowed. Every motion was precise. Every movement anticipated the intruders. A cadet stumbled and shouted, drawing attention. The attackers turned. For a brief moment, sensors picked up heat signatures, but they vanished instantly. By the time Ryan and the others arrived, the intruders were down, silently incapacitated, some unconscious, others immobile. Not a single cadet had fired a shot. No alarms had sounded. The security bots lay on the ground, disabled, without damage.
Ryan stared.
What just happened? Laura stepped closer, voice trembling. He didn't even touch them. Or did he? Hale appeared behind them, calm as ever. He did not need to. What you see is only a fraction of what humans can do. Some of these skills were lost to time, but a few are remembered. Eli remembers. The cadets tried to speak, but no words came. Fear and awe tangled in their throats. Eli moved on. He checked the corridor, silent, precise, then vanished again into the shadows before anyone could approach him. The cadets tried to follow, but the darkness seemed to swallow him. Cameras showed nothing. Sensors showed nothing. Later, Hale gathered the cadets in the observation hall. You rely on technology, he said. Speed. Strength armor. You believe these things make you powerful. But strength without awareness is useless. Technology cannot save you if you do not understand what moves around you. Ryan spoke up, anger and frustration mixing in his tone. Then why is he here? Why let him just, exist while we struggle? Hale's gaze was hard. Because he teaches by example. You will not learn through explanation. You will learn when you see it for yourself. That is the difference between knowledge and understanding. Humans like Eli do not only survive, they adapt. They anticipate. They dominate without being seen. Outside the station, sensors briefly detected movement in other sectors. Minor breaches, small attacks, testing defenses. Each time, Eli moved ahead silently, resolving the threat before it escalated. The cadets saw only the aftermath. Intruders down, corridors intact, no visible combatants. Their equipment failed to register the events. Laura whispered, "How is this possible?" "It's like he disappears." Eli did not hear her. He moved like a shadow, observing every vent, every panel, every corridor intersection. His senses were alive. The intruders had underestimated him, and the station was his battlefield. He did not need weapons. His body, mind, and training were enough. As the night deepened, Hale monitored everything. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "The academy will be tested. Those who cannot adapt will fall. Those who cannot see will fail. Eli will show them the way, but the lesson will be harsh." By dawn, the intruders had retreated. Power was restored across the station. Sensors returned to normal. Cadets gathered in small groups, whispering about what had happened. Some tried to explain it with logic, some denied it. Some felt a strange, uneasy respect for the human in black. Ryan and Laura stood together, exhausted and shaken. He isn't like us," Laura said. Her voice was soft. "He isn't just human. He's something else." Ryan shook his head. No, he's human. But I don't understand how. None of it makes sense. He moves like he isn't here, and yet he is everywhere at once. Hale appeared behind them. That is the point, he said. He is human, and humans survive in ways you do not expect. You will see more. And one day you will understand why he is here. But for now, watch. Learn. And do not interfere. Eli returned to his quarters after the patrol. He did not sleep. He reviewed the corridors, the vents, the outer hall. Every shadow, every sound, every vibration was noted in his mind. He was ready for whatever came next. The cadets slept, or tried to. Their minds were restless, filled with questions. How could a human move like that? How could he anticipate attacks they could not even sense? How could he survive in ways their technology could not detect? Outside, the stars continued their slow dance. The Orion Combat Academy floated above the gas giant, a fortress in space. But even the strongest fortress could be tested, and tonight, the Academy had learned a lesson it could not yet understand. Instructor Hale watched silently. This is only the start, he whispered. The real test comes soon, and only those who see beyond technology will survive. And in the shadows, Eli prepared. Every movement, every step, every breath was practice, observation, and preparation, and he did not fear the coming storm. He had faced greater threats before. The intruders would return. Others might come. And when they did, Eli would be ready, because he was human, but not like the cadets believed. And the Academy would never forget the night it learned that humans could still walk unseen, strike unseen, and survive when no one else could. The Academy woke slowly. The halls smelled faintly of recycled air and machine oil. Cadets shuffled through corridors, exhausted from the night's strange events. Sensors and alarms had shown nothing. Cameras had recorded gaps. The intruders were gone, leaving only confusion in their wake. Most cadets tried to act as if nothing happened. Some whispered nervously. Others avoided the halls where Eli had been seen moving. Ryan and Laura walked together, shoulders tense. "Did you see him last night?" Laura asked. Her voice was low, almost afraid. "He didn't even touch them, and they were all down." Rin shook his head. "I don't understand. He disappears and appears like magic. And the cameras, nothing. How is he human?" Laura frowned. "I don't think he's just human. But Instructor Hale says he is. I don't get it." Hale appeared behind them quietly. "You are beginning to notice," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "Most of you will not understand. Some of you will never understand. Eli moves beyond what you call technology or strength. That is why he is here." Before they could respond, the main alarm buzzed across the academy. Red lights flashed in the hallways. Sensors picked up a breach in the far west sector. The cadets froze. The memory of the previous attack made them uneasy. "Stay calm," Hale said. "Observe first. Do not act without instruction." The cadets hurried toward the observation deck, following the instructor. Cameras already showed multiple intruders moving through the corridors. They were faster and smarter this time. Their armor seemed adaptive. They moved silently, almost as if they were part of the shadows. Ryan whispered, "They are back. How did they get past the shields?" Hale did not answer. He only watched. Eli moved ahead. He vanished into the shadows of a nearby hallway. To the cameras, it appeared empty. Cadets craned their necks, trying to see him, but he was gone. Then, almost impossibly, he appeared at the intersection in front of the intruders. No alarm sounded, no cameras detected him. The intruders reacted instantly, striking with deadly precision. But every move Eli made was faster, sharper, and more controlled. He disarmed the first attacker before they could even land a strike. The second intruder tried to flank him, but Eli vanished from their view and appeared behind them. In one fluid motion, he incapacitated the intruders without leaving a mark. The cadets watched from the observation deck, stunned. Ryan leaned forward, mouth open. "This isn't possible," he said. Laura shivered. "How is he doing it?" Hale turned to them. "He is teaching you again. Observation is the first lesson. Action comes later." The intruders regrouped, adapting quickly. They moved faster, their sensors scanning more carefully. This time, Eli did not attack immediately. He disappeared again, leaving the intruders confused. The sensors on the observation deck showed nothing. Security systems went silent. Ryan turned to Laura. He is invisible to the systems. How is that possible?" Laura shook her head. "It's like he moves through the walls." Hale's voice cut through their whispers. "He moves through what you do not understand. This is why humans are dangerous. Not because of strength, not because of speed, but because of what you cannot predict. Elsewhere, Eli moved along the ventilation system. He observed the intruders from above. Each intruder moved with purpose, trying to find him, but they could not. He calculated their patterns, anticipated their steps, and chose the perfect moment to strike. One intruder moved into the center of the hall. The sensors briefly picked up a heat signature. Then, Eli struck. The intruder collapsed silently, as if tripping over invisible wires. The others reacted, but their attempts to locate him failed. Back in the observation deck, cadets whispered, "He is like a shadow," Laura said. "He doesn't fight like us. He fights differently," Ryan frowned. "But he is human, isn't he?" Hale nodded. "Yes, human. But humans are not limited to what you see every day. Some have survived entire wars without technology. Some have survived against enemies far stronger. Eli is one of those humans. You will see more tonight." The intruders tried to retreat. They were cautious now, sensing something they could not measure. Eli followed silently. One by one, he incapacitated them with precise strikes, leaving no trace. Not a single cadet intervened. Not a single weapon was fired. When the intruders were gone, Eli returned to his quarters. His movements were calm and precise, like a shadow folding into itself. Cadets gathered in small groups, talking quietly. Many were afraid. Some were curious. All were in awe. Rin approached Hale. "Why don't we fight like that? Why don't we move like him?" Hale's gaze was sharp. "Because you rely on what you can see. You rely on technology. You rely on strength. Eli relies on what you cannot see. He trains in ways most species have forgotten, and that is why he survives." Laura stepped forward. "Can we learn it?" Hale shook his head. "Not like him. Observation comes first. Understanding comes next. And only after that, if you are ready, action." The cadets were silent. Fear and respect filled the room. Even Ryan, who had mocked Eli before, could not speak. That night, the academy went into lockdown. The intruders might return. Cadets were ordered to remain in secure areas. Sensors ran continuously, but they were useless against what had already happened. Only Eli moved freely. Only he could see the invisible patterns, the silent paths, the hidden weaknesses. Eli moved through the hallways, checking every vent, every panel, every corner. He observed the shadows, the vibrations, the faint shifts in air pressure. Moved like the intruders had never been there. A group of cadets tried to follow him, curious despite Hale's warning. They soon found themselves lost in the dark corridors. Eli was nowhere to be seen. They saw only empty halls and flickering lights. One cadet whispered, "Where is he?" Another said, "I don't know. He was here a second ago." Hale appeared behind them. "I warned you," he said. "You will not find him by chasing. You must see before you act." By morning, the intruders had vanished completely. No trace remained except for faint disturbances in the walls where the intruders had moved. Sensors could not record it. Cameras showed only empty corridors. Cadets gathered in the hall, exhausted and tense. Ryan and Laura looked at each other. "He is human," Ryan said, "but he's not like us." "Not even close." Hale nodded. "That is the point. Humans are more than you realize. Some skills are older than technology, older than training systems, older than the galaxy itself. Eli remembers them, and so will you, if you are willing to learn." Eli stood quietly in the corner, calm as ever. His uniform was plain black cloth, unarmed, untouched. And yet, the cadets could feel his presence everywhere. He had moved through shadows, through walls, through the invisible paths of the station, and had controlled the situation without being seen. The cadets whispered about him in low voices. Some were afraid. Some were fascinated. All were beginning to understand that the human in black was not just surviving. He was teaching them the limits of what they believed possible. Hale turned to watch the cadets. "This is only the beginning," he said softly. "The academy will face more. The galaxy will test you. And humans like Eli will always be a step ahead. Remember that." Eli did not respond. He did not need to. The shadow of his presence, his skill, his calm control over what no one else could manage, spoke louder than words. The cadets watched, but they were only beginning to see, only beginning to understand. And the real lessons were yet to come. The Orion Combat Academy was quiet in the early morning. The lights hummed softly, and the corridors smelled of metal and recycled air. Cadets moved slowly, still shaken by the events of the previous night. Many avoided each other, speaking in whispers about what they had seen. Some refused to leave their rooms. Some stared at the walls as if shadows might move again. Eli walked through the halls, his black uniform blending with the dim light. He moved quietly, observing everything, noting every corner, vent, and panel. His eyes flicked to the corridors where the intruders had been, but there was no sign of them now. Only faint traces. The air slightly displaced told him where they had moved. He did not hurry. There was no need. He always knew what would happen before it did. In the training hall, Hale gathered the cadets. Their faces were pale. Many still wore bruises or small cuts from the last night's drills, though none had fought directly. The room was tense. Cadets whispered to each other, trying to make sense of what had happened. Today, Hale said, his voice calm but firm, you will learn about history. Not the history your textbooks teach. Not the history of technology. You will learn what has been lost and what remains. Some humans, like Eli, carry this history in their blood and their mind. Rin crossed his arms. History? That won't help us fight. We need weapons. We need strength. Hale's eyes narrowed. Weapons and strength can fail. Knowledge can save you when everything else falls apart. And humans like Eli understand knowledge better than any machine. Watch and learn, or you will fail. Eli stood quietly at the back. He did not speak. He did not move unless needed. His eyes scanned the cadets, noting fear, pride, and doubt. These emotions would matter later. They would affect every decision the cadets made when danger came again. Hale activated the holoscreen. Images filled the room. Ancient ships, destroyed planets, forgotten weapons, and warriors who had walked the galaxy long before any current species existed. Eli watched silently as the cadets gasped, whispered, or turned away. These humans, Hale said, were not the strongest. They were not the fastest, but they survived. They adapted. They learned to move unseen, to strike with precision, to outthink their enemies. Many of their methods were lost as civilizations advanced. Most species now rely only on technology. But some humans remember. Ryan shook his head. That's impossible. How could humans fight like that without machines? Hale's gaze was sharp. By training every sense, every reflex, every movement, by understanding patterns, by anticipating attacks, by observing without being seen. Eli is one of those humans. He remembers what most have forgotten. Laura's eyes were wide. So he's not just strong, he's trained for things we can't even imagine? Hale nodded. Yes, and now you will see why humans can survive when nothing else works. Tonight, the intruders may return. You will watch. You will learn. And some of you may survive if you pay attention. The cadets exchanged nervous glances. Fear mixed with curiosity. None of them wanted to admit how impressed they were with Eli. None of them wanted to face the truth that they had been outclassed by a single human. Eli left the hall quietly. He moved through the corridors, checking the perimeter, noting every detail. He moved like a shadow, unseen and unheard. The station itself seemed to respond to him. Doors opened without touch. Lights flickered slightly as he passed. Sensors registered nothing. He could feel the station's vibrations through the metal floor. He could sense the smallest changes in air pressure, the faintest hums from engines. Everything spoke to him. Everything warned him. The first sign of the new threat came as a flicker on the outer sensors. Hale noticed it immediately. They're testing us again, he said quietly. Be ready. Eli moved toward the west corridor. There, the first signs of intruders appeared. They were more advanced than before. Their armor adapted to light. Their movements were faster and more coordinated. They were not here to kill blindly. They were here to test, to learn, to locate weaknesses. Cadets tried to watch from the observation deck. They could see the intruders moving, but they could not see Eli. He was already there, moving among the shadows, passing through vents, sliding along walls, disappearing and appearing where the intruders least expected. One intruder swung a blade. Sensors barely recorded the motion. Eli was gone. The intruder hit nothing but empty air. Then, silently, Eli appeared behind him. A single motion, and the intruder collapsed. No weapon, no sound, no mark. Ryan whispered to Laura. How does he do it? Laura shook her head. I don't know. I don't understand it. Hale's voice cut through their fear. You will never understand fully. You can only watch. You can only learn. Humans like Eli operate in ways your systems cannot measure. That is the power of adaptation, observation, and anticipation. That is why humans survive when no one else can. The intruders regrouped. They advanced in pairs, testing every corridor, every room. Sensors briefly registered their movements. then failed again. Eli struck from shadows, taking down attackers silently and efficiently. Each movement was precise. Each strike was calculated. Each intruder fell without warning, without damage to the station, without noise. The cadets watched in awe and fear. They had trained with weapons, with sensors, with advanced technology. None of it mattered. Eli was faster, smarter, and completely unpredictable. By midday, the intruders retreated. Some left silently, some disappeared into vents, others vanished into the station's hidden pathways. Sensors could not follow them. Cameras recorded only empty corridors. The cadets were exhausted, shaken, and silently terrified. Hale turned to them. "You have seen why humans are dangerous. You have seen what happens when you underestimate skill, knowledge, and instinct. Eli is not just surviving. He is teaching you. And tonight, you will learn the final lesson of observation and patience." Eli returned to his quarters. He did not sleep. He moved through the station quietly, checking every corner, every vent, every weak point. His eyes flicked to every shadow. Every vibration in the walls told him something. Every hum of the engines warned him of movement, of presence, of danger. He was ready. Ryan and Laura tried to rest, but they could not. Their minds replayed the previous attacks, the impossible movements, the shadows that seemed to obey Eli's command. They whispered to each other, trying to understand. "He is human," Ryan said, "but he isn't. Not really." Laura shivered. "He moves like he knows things we can't even see. How's that possible?" Hale appeared silently. "It is possible because humans adapt, because humans survive, and because some humans remember." The cadets did not respond. They only listened. Only watched. The station's sensors flickered again. Hale noticed the disturbance. Eli was already moving toward it, silent and unseen. The intruders would return. This time, they were smarter, faster, and more dangerous. But Eli was ready. He moved through the shadows, through the halls, through the vents, always one step ahead. The cadets watched from their observation points, powerless, in awe, and afraid. They began to understand a truth they could not deny. Humans like Eli did not rely on technology or brute strength. They relied on knowledge, instinct, observation, and patience, and that made them unstoppable. By the time the first wave of new intruders arrived, Eli had already anticipated every move, every path, every weakness. Not a single cadet needed to fight. Not a single weapon was fired. And yet, when the intruders were gone, the academy remained intact. Every motion had been calculated, every strike precise, every threat neutralized before it became dangerous. Hale watched silently. This is why humans survive when nothing else can. You can learn from him, if you are willing to watch, listen, and understand. Otherwise, you will fail. Eli returned to his room once again. His movements were calm. His black uniform was unchanged. His eyes were steady, focused, and alert. He had survived the intruders. He had taught the cadets a lesson they would not forget. And the academy had learned something as well. Humans like Eli were not just cadets. They were living weapons, historians, warriors, and teachers all in one. And the galaxy had yet to see the full measure of what they could do. The Orion Combat Academy floated silently above the gas giant, its engines humming steadily. Outside, stars stretched endlessly, cold and distant. Inside, the cadets moved quietly through the halls, exhausted from nights filled with threats they could barely understand. Every corridor, every panel, every vent seemed alive with possibilities they could not see. Eli walked calmly through the station. His black uniform caught no light. His steps made no sound. Sensors recorded nothing. Cameras showed empty corridors. Yet every cadet who looked at him felt his presence. He moved with a certainty and patience that was impossible to ignore. Instructor Hale stood in the observation deck, watching. His hands rested on the railing. He did not speak. He only observed. He had trained generations of cadets, but none had ever faced what Eli represented. This human carried knowledge, instinct, and skill far beyond ordinary understanding. The alarm buzzed suddenly, faint but sharp. A new wave of intruders had entered the station. Hale did not panic. He only watched. He already knew who would handle them. Eli moved toward the west sector. The intruders were faster, smarter, and more numerous than any before. Their armor shifted colors, their movements were precise, and their sensors scanned continuously. They expected a challenge. They expected resistance. They did not expect him. The first intruder swung a blade at a doorway. Eli was already there, standing in the shadows. The intruder's attack meant nothing but air. The second tried to flank him. Eli had vanished. By the time the intruder realized it, he was incapacitated silently, efficiently. No sound, no struggle, no mark. Ryan and Laura watched from the observation deck, hearts pounding. They whispered to each other. "He is everywhere," Laura said. "I don't even see him. And he's winning." Rin shook his head. "I don't understand. He is human. How is he doing this?" Hale spoke quietly. "Humans adapt. Humans survive. And some remember skills lost to time. That is what you are seeing. You cannot understand it fully. You can only observe." Eli moved through the corridors like water. The intruders tried to coordinate, but they were trapped by a force they could not see. Every attack was anticipated, every movement countered, every step blocked before it could be dangerous. Sensors failed, weapons failed, and still Eli moved. Calm, precise, unstoppable. One intruder attempted a direct strike, a fast energy blast aimed at him. Eli moved before it even fired, slipping past the attack as if time slowed. The intruder stumbled, disoriented, and was removed from the fight silently. Another intruder tried a flanking maneuver. Eli disappeared from sight, reappearing behind them. The strike was perfect. Non-lethal, but disabling. The intruders had no chance. Every attack was countered before it began. Every strategy anticipated. The cadets watched in disbelief. By mid-battle, the intruders realized they were not fighting technology, strength, or numbers. They were fighting instinct, knowledge, and human skill refined over generations. Eli was a ghost, a shadow, a force they could not predict, Ryan whispered, almost to himself. I think he is showing us what it means to be human." Laura's eyes were wide. "Not just human. A human who remembers the past. Who knows what it means to survive against impossible odds?" Hale nodded silently. "Exactly. This is why humans endure when others fall. Strength, speed, technology, they are tools. Knowledge and anticipation, they are weapons. Eli embodies both." The intruders attempted a retreat. They had underestimated their opponent. They were forced back, one by one, defeated without realizing it. The cadets observed silently. Some felt awe, some felt fear. All felt respect. Eli moved to the center of the hall, surveying the results. Not a single intruder remained standing. Not a single cadet had fired a shot. The battle was over before most had understood it had begun. Hale spoke to the cadets. "This is your lesson. Do not rely solely on technology. Do not rely solely on strength. Observe, anticipate, adapt. Humans have survived wars and threats far greater than this. Eli is the proof. You are seeing only a fraction of what humans are capable of." Ryan stepped forward, hesitant. "So, we have been training all this time and he stopped, unsure of words." Laura placed a hand on his arm. "He showed us something bigger. Something we can't measure with machines. Something we can only learn by watching." Hale turned to them, eyes firm. "Some humans have always been like this, unseen, unmeasured, unstoppable when they choose to be. You will not understand fully, but you can learn from observation. And one day you may survive because you watched and listened." Eli remained quiet. His eyes scanned the cadets, noting who had fear, who had curiosity, who had understanding. He did not speak. His presence alone taught more than words could. The cadets moved closer hesitantly. They wanted to see, to understand. Ryan approached him, still unsure. How do you do it?" Eli looked at him. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "I watch. I learn. I move before I am seen. I survive." Laura stepped closer. Can we learn it?" Eli shook his head slightly. "Not like this. Not by rushing. Watch first. Learn next. Understand later. Then, if you are ready, you act." The cadets nodded, silent. They felt the weight of what he said. Not just a lesson in combat, but a lesson in thinking, in patience, in survival. Hale spoke again. "This is why humans endure, because they adapt, because they see beyond the immediate, because they remember skills long forgotten. Eli is proof, and the galaxy is about to remember as well." The cadets watched in awe as Eli moved through the station one final time that day. Every corridor, every shadow, every vent obeyed the calm rhythm of his movements. Sensors, cameras, and even the intruders had failed to track him. He had mastered every unseen path, every hidden pattern, every silent threat. By evening, the academy was quiet again. The intruders had retreated completely. Cadets gathered in the central hall, exhausted but attentive. They had seen humans survive and dominate in ways that no technology could explain. They had witnessed instinct, knowledge, and patience triumph over force, numbers, and weapons. Ryan finally spoke. I get it now. He's human, and he's showing us what that really means. Strength isn't everything. Tools aren't everything. It's the mind, the senses, the way you move and think. Laura nodded. We've been training with machines, with weapons, but he teaches us what it means to survive when everything else fails. Hale smiled faintly. Exactly. And you will carry that lesson forward. Some of you will survive, some of you will fail. But the lesson remains. Humans endure when others cannot. They adapt. They learn. They dominate when it is needed. Eli is only a beginning. Eli stood quietly, black uniform plain and unchanged. His eyes were calm, alert, and steady. Cadets felt a quiet awe and respect. He did not speak. He did not need to. His presence was enough. Later, a transmission arrived from higher command. It requested more humans like Eli. Cadets watched as Hale read the message silently. The galaxy is beginning to remember, he said, and humans like Eli will lead the way. The cadets understood. Respect replaced fear, curiosity replaced doubt, and awe replaced ridicule. They had witnessed something greater than any technology or training program could teach. They had seen humans survive, humans anticipate, humans endure. Eli prepared for rest, though not sleep. He moved through the station quietly, checking every corner, every shadow, every hidden path. He was ready for what was to come. The galaxy might send challenges far greater than intruders, but he would be ready. Humans had survived worse. The cadets watched him, and in their minds, the lesson sank deep. Strength, technology, and speed were tools. Awareness, instinct, patience, and understanding were weapons. Humans, even seemingly ordinary ones, could surpass all expectations. Instructor Hale turned to the cadets one last time that day. Remember this. Humans endure, humans survive. And humans, when they choose, can surpass all else. Eli is living proof. Eli stood in the shadows, quiet, calm, and undefeated. The Academy had learned a new truth. The galaxy would soon learn as well. And the cadets knew, in their hearts, that humans were not just survivors. They were something far greater. The stars outside shone cold and distant. The Academy floated silently above the gas giant, and in the quiet corridors, a human moved, unseen, unstoppable, and ready. The lesson was complete. The galaxy would never forget.